Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. ASM sent me that DIOSynth and said do something with it. So that's what I'm going to do today. The usual disclaimer, as I already said, ASM sent me a free sample for making this specific video, and apart from that I'm free to say whatever I want to here. And if you can live with that, please join me for the next minutes in this video. Here we go. The DIOSynth is ASM's first EW. It comes in a flight case that includes the instrument itself, a printed manual, and a power adapter, and a set of adapter cables. It also ships with its own stand, which is highly welcome. Unlike all the EWs I've tried so far, this instrument uses mechanical keys. These are easy to press and play, and they react reliably. But if you're used to archive-style capacitive keys, it takes a while to get used to. The keys are numerous, but similar to an acoustic clarinet, 7 of them form the primary fingering layout used for most notes, while the remaining keys serve additional functions such as semitone steps or special articulations. Some keys can be assigned to special functions. The DIOSynth also features a reed-shaped carbon composite mouthpiece instead of a silicone one. It doesn't function like an acoustic reed, but serves as a highly durable pressure and bite sensor. Like many other professional EWs, the instrument comes with a neck strap that helps you carry its weight for extended periods. On the back of the instrument you'll find the octave switches, 2 volume knobs for the internal speaker and headphones, an LCD, menu buttons for configuring the instrument, a joystick for pitch bending and vibrato, 5-pin MIDI ports, and a battery compartment. Unfortunately, the device is bring your own battery, which adds roughly $20 to the overall cost. On the side, the DIOSynth has a USB port and line-out jack. USB can be used for MIDI and for charging the batteries. The DIOSynth also supports Bluetooth, which can be used for audio in-out and BLE MIDI. The built-in speaker is tiny, and while it's loud enough for practicing, you'll most likely want to connect the instrument to something more substantial. However, the speaker's position makes the instrument vibrate in your mouth, which provides surprisingly useful feedback about your playing dynamics. All the parameters that affect how the instrument is played or how it responds can be edited directly on the device. Here you can set up fingering, sax, flute, trumpet, or other important settings such as MIDI, Bluetooth, or the color of the LED on the front of the instrument. I'm missing an EW fingering mode. On a real saxophone or clarinet there is a physical necessity to play certain notes in specific ways, but that's not the case on a synthesizer. So having one easy to memorize fingering pattern would be nice. The synthesizer parameters cannot be edited on the instrument itself. You need to download an app for that, and that's what I want to focus on in this video. Okay, so this is the DIOSynth's patch editor. You can grab this from ASM's webpage. Let's take a look at the general architecture of this synthesizer. We have 2 wavescan oscillators, which are kind of like wavetables, but you can see we've got these 8 slots here. So instead of relying on presets, you can finally adjust the wave shapes that the wavescan will go through. This is kind of like on the HYDROSynth. It's a comparable architecture. We have a noise oscillator, which can be filtered with resonance and everything. And we have a sample engine where you can choose recorded instruments. Let's take a look. We've got saxophones, we've got reed instruments, we've got flutes, clarinets, whistles, recorders, other instruments, brass, harmonicas, accordion, strings, vocal, Chinese wind instruments and Chinese string instruments. The quality of the sample sounds is ranging from breathtakingly good to okay. I didn't try all of them, but they're certainly good enough to work together with the synth engine. Here we have a filter. We have different filters to choose from. The filter has drive, resolution, color frequency, and it can react to breath pressure and the envelopes. We've got a growl oscillator, which is an oscillator running in the background that can ring modulate the two main oscillators. Then we have acoustic ear candy, for example, key noise, attack noise, and breath noise that you can mix into your instrument and make it sound more realistic. We have a 2-band equalizer, we have an insert effect, and we have a 32-part modulation matrix. That's quite a lot. We have 5 envelopes that can do stuff. We have 5 LFOs that can modulate things. And if that wasn't enough already, we have complete part 2, which is the same thing again. So we've got 2 synth engines running in parallel here. I want to start showing off the sample engine. Let's just listen to some of these pre-recorded instruments. So, for example, here's the ballad tenor sax. As you can hear, this is quite good already. And you could use it as a standalone instrument all by itself and it would work perfectly in any given song. But other instruments aren't that detailed. For example, I quite like my clarinet sound, so let's choose the standard clarinet here and let's play this. So the problem with the clarinet is you can apply a lot of breath pressure, but the overall sound never changes. Listen to this. This is with low breath pressure. And now with high breath pressure. So there's no change in sound there, which is unfortunate. I'm still looking for a good clarinet sound on wind synth. But we can remedy that. We'll take a look at that later. Let's take a look at the envelopes and the other settings for the sample engine here. We can obviously pitch this sound. We can change its level, obviously. You can turn off legato playing. And then we have pitch and amplitude envelopes. These don't work like on keyboard synthesizers. Instead, these will react to the follow-up notes you play after the first note you played, while still holding the same breath of air, so to speak. For example, I can increase the depth of the pitch envelope. Let's change the attack rate. So there you can hear the pitch is gliding. Let's reset this to the default values by double-clicking this. Same for the amplitude. Alright, that's the sample engine. Now let's take a look at the wavescan oscillator. So I'm going to turn down the volume of the clarinet here. And now let's turn up the level of this oscillator. Now you should hear the saw wave. You can scan through the waves here by using this knob. At the moment nothing's happening, but as I've already said, you can fill up these 8 slots here. Let's do that. Let's check this out. You've heard the change in timbre there. That was because by turning the wavescan knob, we scan from saw wave to pulse wave to this, okay? Now let's pan this hard left. Let's create something very similar on the other oscillator. So let's bring up the level here. Let's choose some more waveforms here. Okay, let's listen again. I could try to make breath pressure walk through these waveforms by using this, but instead I'm going to use the mod matrix on this side here. Let's use the breath pressure as a parameter, and the target will be oscillator 1 wavescan. And then we'll go all the way in here, and let's do that with the oscillator 2 wavescan as well, and also go all the way in. Now let's listen. Depending on how big the breath pressure is on the synth, we will move from this wave over this wave to this wave. Okay, now let's slightly detune this a little bit up here, the second oscillator. Let's tune the first oscillator down just a little bit. Alright, that's the wavescan oscillators, and you have 2 of them per part. Hey, if you think this is cool content and if you want to see more of this in the future, please do the YouTube thing now, like and subscribe. Seeing those numbers grow is a big motivation boost for me, and to be honest, it's been hard in 2025, and 2026 has been even worse so far. Talking about synthesizers is fun. Seeing subscriber numbers grow is fun as well. So why not have both? Thank you very much. Right, let's continue. We will now increase the level of the clarinet again, and then let's take a look at the filter and at the noise generator. So let's start with noise. At the moment, the noise is cut away. But with a few settings we can make it audible. So you can make the noise level and the cutoff frequency dependent on breath pressure, of course, and you can adjust panning and the overall level. Now let's continue to the filter section. You have a big choice of filters at your disposal here. I'm going to stick with the ladder filter 24 decibel. You can adjust breath sensitivity here. Let's work with this. Filter drive sounds very pleasing on the synthesizer. Listen to this. The filter turns the very brittle sound I created previously into something much more natural sounding, especially when using the filter drive. Now let's take a look at growl. Growl is a natural distortion that happens when using your throat and some pressure on the reed of the acoustic instrument you're playing. It's quite hard to model on a synthesizer, and the DIOSynth uses ring modulation for this, which is a very simplified growl model, but it's nice to have nevertheless. Let's listen to this. So you can adjust the frequency modulation in semitones and cents, and you can adjust the level. The best idea is to keep the level at 0 and then assign it to the joystick and go all in here. And now you can use the joystick to create growl. Then we have acoustics. As I already said, this is some kind of ear candy. You can play back samples of keys opening and closing. I'm going to exaggerate this quite a bit so you can hear it. Same for the attack noise and breath noise. Okay, what else can we do? We can use an equalizer to shape the overall sounds. You can choose the frequency the equalizer will work in, and then you can adjust the gain and the resonance. So let's listen to this. Let's take a look at the modulation matrix now. As you can see, I've set up 3 entries so far, so we can use the joystick to control growl level. We have breath pressure assigned to the wave shapes, and we could do other stuff here, but I'm going to leave this as it is. You have up to 32 entries here, so that's a lot to work with. Last but not least, we have LFOs and envelopes. Let's see what they do. So for this, I'm going to use part 2. So first we go to the patch page and then increase the volume of the second part to maximum. Then go to the part 2 tab. Now I select the choir sound here, increase the level. Let's use a reverb effect here, and I've assigned envelope 1 to sample level, so it will control the sample engine, and now we can shape the sound with attack, decay, sustain and release. Let's listen to this. Now we can also use the LFOs. You have 5 of them, and I'm going to use them on the choir here. We're going to set up LFO 1. We will assign it to sample pitch, and now we can adjust the depth here. Let's be more subtle about this. Okay, I'm going to turn off this part again. Let's take a look at the last tab, which is called Patch. Here you can assign some master effects on top of the insert effects you've already chosen for the 2 different synth engines. Let's, for example, use a little bit of reverb here. And we can use another effect here, for example, a chorus or ensemble. Compressors. Yeah, I think you get the idea. Last thing is you can control pitch and glide settings of the patch. Not going to show that here, it's quite obvious. Here you can assign all the buttons and the gyroscope, which can be used to change the tone if you lift up the DIOSynth like this. Yeah, and that's it. My walkthrough through the DIOSynth's synth engine, and overall the clarinet patch now sounds more artificial but also more expressive, so I can control its brightness after starting to play the note by controlling breath pressure. I will work on this a bit and then let's try this in a demonstration performance. And that's it for today. The ASM DIOSynth, by far the most complex and feature-rich EWI I've ever tested on this channel. So if you think this was a good YouTube video, please consider subscribing for more news in electronic music, tech, DIY devices, and open source in general. Thanks for watching. See you again next week. Bye bye.